you should ask me that at this event, because 2 years ago at TOC Europe, which I believe was in Amsterdam, we encountered DG World and struck up a conversation about their autonomy project, because autonomy can look after itself but always needs a communication component. So we started that conversation with them 2 years ago. The absolute critical part of autonomy is that you have complete control over the assets that you have enabled in that environment. And the characteristic of the Rajant network that really appealed to these guys was the 100% connectivity at all times. And when you are considering that these things are moving many tons of equipment without a driver being involved, actually knowing the exact location of that back at the control room and being able to intervene if at all necessary was absolutely vital. Oh, they're absolutely vital. Rajant is a manufacturer of the kinetic mesh radio technology, which is a combination of extremely sophisticated software and ultra resilient hardware. But we're a manufacturer of one part of a solution. In order to get the real benefits of technology, you have to combine multiple layers of technology, such as the communications layer, but also the application that actually does something with that network. And the DG World capability of autonomy comprises a whole series of components of which Rajant is a fundamental part, but only one part. Well, I'm pleased to say that this conference comes rapidly on the back of TOC Asia, where again Rajant and DG World shared a stand, because they are one of our strategic partners. We see them taking this technology to many terminal operators around the world, and Rajant being a key part of that. So from that very early days where we had 2 years ago a few radios provided for evaluation purposes, we're now seeing our technology underpinning their solution being rolled out in their live projects as we speak. And more opportunities are being uncovered at this event every time somebody comes to talk to us about automation. No, this is one of those industries, and we work across a whole series of industrial environments, but this in particular is characterized by the port operators adopting technologies from a vast array of providers, whether they be the manufacturers of the spreaders, the cranes themselves, the terminal tractors, the logistics organizations moving it onwards. All of those components are combined in this environment. And as you look round the booths here at this exhibition, you'll see Konecranes, you'll see Kalmar, you'll see SD Engineering, and they have a supply chain of component providers as well, and they find themselves used with each other in various combinations. So it's an incredibly collaborative industry, and it has to be. Absolutely. Data and the use of it, I've often said, is the most underutilized asset that these organizations have. Capturing it from the point of production, which is often a small sensor in an industrial environment, and then being able to make sense of that quickly is what this whole industry is trying to adopt, utilizing this combination of collaborative technologies that you mentioned. Rajant's particular role in that is acting as the core transport layer to get that data from point of origin to point of analysis and back in order to take action as quickly and reliably as possible.
I think if you look at DG World as a whole, we are turnkey delivery of autonomous vehicles. Any vehicle we can make autonomous as a turnkey. This means also including fleet management and also integration with TOS for trucks. In there, it is extremely important that we have suppliers that we can trust. So we have relationship with them, we can share information with them. So in other words, they really add value to the whole solution. And that's why we were really looking for the best provider of the solution of communication, and we found that in Rajant. First of all, autonomous vehicles, if we use them into seaports, of course, the number of drivers. So in other words, if you want to increase your capacity, you do that by taking more drivers on in normal vehicles, but you can also add that extra capacity by putting autonomous vehicles in place. And so in other words, you save on the extra cost for vehicles. But that's not the only thing, it's also the efficiency, because instructions are given to the truck, and any truck that is nearby can be used immediately, so that efficiency goes up. And just thinking about the use of petrol at the seaport, a normal driver would probably drive a little bit faster, put his throttle down a little bit quicker, or brake very fast. We can put it into sort of maximizing the usage of less petrol, and we see that it can be dramatically reducing. Just look at your own usage of your car. If you know you can drive about half of the petrol if you would behave a bit better on the road. So these are the benefits of, and there are many more, but these are the main benefits of using autonomous vehicles. I would say that we started about the relationship with one of the seaports in the Middle East. We cannot mention which one it is. We worked with them now for about 3 or 4 years, and in that time that we were developing that for them, for the autonomous truck, we saw that there was getting interest from most of the main operators in the world. So we saw requests coming from Singapore, we see it coming from Hong Kong, we see it coming we now have contacts in Rotterdam and many other places. So we see that the market is now looking after all the cranes. That's where the crane automation is getting further and further. We see that they're looking for the next step, and I think the next step will be autonomous vehicles or autonomous trucks at seaports. My personal view is, and not everybody says, I think we should keep it off the road. At the moment, there's no regulation, there's no law that says that you can drive autonomously. Secondly, the insurances are very difficult so it's very difficult to insure your truck or your car at the moment when it goes on the normal road. And there's acceptance. At the moment, if you talk to anybody, they would say, I prefer to drive myself. And as soon as that is coming in, and more cars will be capable of supporting and then going to autonomous, I think then that is the moment that we should really introduce it to the road. It's too early at this moment. To be honest, we hope that there's more and more seaports finding out that autonomous trucks are the new solution, and that we would really like to support them in making that transition, not 200, 300 at the same time, but gradually turning into in fully autonomous driving at seaports. I also see that is probably the only way forward, that we have to go that direction in case we really want to make future profits, because that's the way that the world has to go into.